This is a brief visual explanation of the color viscosity etching process used for the works within this exhibition. I will move from the digital drawing at the beginning to the creation of a copper plate and finally to the method of printing each of the works in color. I begin with either a famous painting or a photograph, and then by drawing or rather erasing the image in Photoshop. You can see that lighter values are created through the erasing, while the darker values are actually made from the combined layers of text. That drawing is further developed on a copper plate, and from that it is eventually printed with multiple colors to come up with the final image. After the digital drawing is complete, the values are inverted or reversed, and the image is printed through a toner-based laser printer onto a clear transparency. The transparency is then adhered to the copper plate and slowly heated and rubbed with a wooden spoon to transfer the toner onto the plate. The spoon actually keeps the image flat so that there are no air bubbles. The heat melts the toner to the plate. The toner will eventually act as a resist within an acid bath so that all open areas will be eaten away by the acid. The prepared plate is placed into the acid. Wherever there is toner, it is protected. It is checked often to find out what the depth of the lines are. This process requires that the plates be developed with at least 3 distinct levels. Those levels impact how the color will separate or combine later on. Handwork and traditional etching processes are also used to create the desired result. Sometimes surfaces need to be smoothed out with a scraper and a burnisher to get a clearer color, or the lines may need to be re-etched. The original black and white design is only the starting point. As the plate is developed, values must be altered, and depths of levels adjusted to create the intended color combinations. Several state proofs are made to check progress and decide on the final ink color combinations. Once that is decided, the final edition or set number of prints can be printed. Color viscosity etching requires at least 3 inks. 2 are modified and will be rolled onto the surface of the plate. To one, oil is added to create an oily or runny ink. The next is combined with an inert powder to make it stiffer or tackier. These 2 inks, because of their different viscosity, will actually reject each other when they are rolled on and will combine in different ways. You begin the process of printing the same way that you would with a regular black and white etching. Here I'm taking a deep violet color and applying it to the plate. The little card that I am using is actually placing all and pushing all of the ink into the deepest crevices of the plate. I then take this piece of cloth, which is called tarlatan. It is essentially a stiffened form of cheesecloth. The final wiping is done with a piece of newspaper to get the surface completely clean so that it will properly accept the inks. The first roller that I use with the oily ink is a hard surface roller. It will only hit the very top surfaces of the plate. The second roller is going to be a very soft roller, which will allow the ink to be deposited on lower areas of the plate when it is rolled over the surface. So here you can see the green goes across that top surface and the very oily ink that is being used, and then the red goes right over the top of that. You will see that some of the green has come off or offset onto that roller, but it has deposited ink in other areas. Once the plate is inked, a dampened piece of paper is laid upon it on the press, and with all of the pressure of the press, it is run through, and then you can see what the different combination of colors has done for this print. Differences in ink cause them to either mix with or reject one another, creating a variety of color effects and combinations. Very different kinds of effects can be made by just altering what inks are used. Here I'm using a similar, though different, violet ink to ink up a plate and wiping it down again. Next I'm going to use the oily ink with the hard roller again, but here I'm using a very bright yellow And then I'm using a medium soft roller with an orange ink. The yellow goes over that top surface, only hitting the top surface. The orange ink is not modified very much, so it is going to reject the yellow as we saw the last time, but when I use this red violet, which is even tackier, and again using the soft roller, it will combine a little with the orange and totally reject what we have on the top surface of the yellow. And so you will see a very different color combination with this particular plate. Different color combinations produce all sorts of different effects. Using complementary colors that are opposite from each other can create either very subtle tonal differences or sometimes very vibrant clashing combinations, as you will see when we put both of these works next to each other, that the red and green are a high contrast, but the yellow and the violet actually turn into a brown. While this is a highly technical process, there is always room for surprise when you begin the inking, because you're not exactly sure what the different levels or how the different colors are going to interact to create this wide variety in the prints. And though this is a very brief introduction, I hope it gives you a little more understanding into how the works in this show were created.